What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the MMA Zone, where the biggest stories in the fight game never slow down. Let's dive straight into the latest drama, opinions, and jaw-dropping statements making waves across the MMA world, because there is a lot to unpack today, and it all starts with Arman Tsarukyan once again taking aim at Paddy Pimblett. At this point, it almost feels routine. Whenever Arman Tsarukyan gets in front of a microphone, Paddy Pimblett's name isn't far behind. This time, Tsarukyan appeared on the One Night with Steiny podcast, where the conversation naturally shifted toward the highly anticipated matchup between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. When asked about the fight, Arman didn't hesitate to make his stance clear. He openly said that he hopes Justin Gaethje wins, but he doesn't believe Gaethje can knock Pimblett out. In Arman's view, the only realistic way Gaethje gets his hand raised is by decision. And even then, he seemed uncertain. Tsarukyan broke it down bluntly, saying that either Gaethje wins by decision or he loses, period. When the conversation turned toward who the UFC likely wants to win the fight, Arman was quick with his answer. In his opinion, the promotion is clearly backing Paddy Pimblett. He went even further, suggesting that this is the exact reason the UFC hasn't matched him up with Pimblett yet. According to Arman, the UFC knows that if he fights Paddy, Paddy would lose. He even challenged the idea hypothetically, saying that if you asked Dana White directly who would win between Arman Tsarukyan and Paddy Pimblett, and Dana said Paddy, then something would be seriously wrong. After the interview aired, Arman didn't stop there. He took to social media to throw another jab at Pimblett, criticizing him for not promoting the fight properly. Arman claimed that while it's fight week for chubby Paddy, he's the one out there doing interviews, live streams, and press appearances. He called it a bad look for the UFC, implying that he's carrying the promotional load while Paddy stays quiet. Beyond his issues with Pimblett, Tsarukyan also voiced frustration with how the UFC operates as a whole. In his opinion, the organization prioritizes social media following and popularity over actual skill and merit. He argued that if a fighter deserves a title shot based on rankings and performances, then they should get it, regardless of how many followers they have. At the same time, Arman acknowledged the business side of the sport, admitting that if he were in the UFC's position, he might make similar decisions because money matters. Still, he made it clear that he doesn't fully agree with the system, especially now that the UFC has signed a massive new deal with Paramount. Tsarukyan even floated a bold idea that got people talking. He suggested that the UFC should run an 8-fighter Grand Prix tournament where fighters compete over a 6-week period to determine a champion no matter what. Injuries or not, there would be a winner by the end. While it's an interesting concept, many quickly pointed out that something like this would be extremely difficult to approve due to athletic commission rules, medical suspensions, and fighter safety concerns. Shifting gears, another major storyline involves the fallout from Khamzat Chimaev's dominant win over Dricus Du Plessis at UFC 319. Dricus lost his middleweight title in a lopsided unanimous decision, with Chimaev taking him down repeatedly and controlling the fight from start to finish. While many fans saw it as a complete mauling, DDP's coach, Morn Visser, offered a different perspective. Speaking with Fight Forecast, Visser claimed that the loss came down to small mistakes and a lack of preparation for a specific style of fight. According to him, they were not prepared to fight someone who wasn't willing to engage in what he described as a real fight. He argued that Chimaev focused almost entirely on wrestling and control, avoiding prolonged striking exchanges. Visser even suggested that if they had known this was the approach Chimaev would take, they would have changed Dricus' base entirely and focused purely on wrestling back. Visser also criticized the officiating, pointing out that Chimaev threw hundreds of strikes but landed very few significant ones, while official UFC stats show that Chimaev landed 37 significant strikes out of over 500 thrown. Visser's argument was that the fight lacked meaningful damage and excitement. Still, control wins fights, and Chimaev did exactly what he needed to do to take the belt. Dricus Du Plessis later echoed some of those sentiments himself. While giving credit to Chimaev for executing a winning strategy, DDP admitted that the fight was boring and frustrating. He claimed that Chimaev avoided a real fight because he knew how dangerous Dricus could be if things turned into a true exchange. According to DDP, Chimaev neutralized everything he tried to do and stayed out of danger intentionally. While frustrating, Dricus acknowledged that these setbacks are learning experiences and promised that fans would see noticeable improvements in his next performance. Looking ahead, DDP's coach revealed that they're targeting a return in April, potentially against Brendan Allen or Nasruddin Imavov in a 3-round fight. He even warned that if Allen gets the matchup, he's in serious trouble, especially in a shorter fight where Dricus' pace and power could shine. Meanwhile, the Conor McGregor rumor mill continues to spin, and this time George Masvidal is adding fuel to the fire. Masvidal has been teasing the idea of a fight with McGregor, especially with both men rumored to be interested in appearing on a potential UFC White House card. Masvidal claims that discussions are happening behind the scenes and that communication is open. While some believe this could just be hype building, there's no denying the fight would be massive in terms of viewership, even if both fighters are past their primes. Masvidal didn't hold back when discussing how he believes he matches up against McGregor. He claimed he's a bad stylistic matchup for Conor, saying he's bigger, faster, and more dangerous on the feet. According to Masvidal, McGregor would be better off fighting someone else if he wants a win. Still, Masvidal emphasized that the fight would shatter streaming records and bring enormous attention to the UFC and Paramount. As for McGregor himself, he appears focused and physically ready. He recently posted a photo showing his physique, and fans are hopeful that this finally signals his long-awaited return. However, it's clear that not all relationships have been repaired. Dustin Poirier made it clear that despite McGregor congratulating him on social media, there's still no peace between them. Elsewhere in the middleweight division, Joe Pyfer made headlines by suggesting that Israel Adesanya could retire if he loses his upcoming fight. Pyfer acknowledged Adesanya's greatness but pointed out his recent losing streak and age. He believes that if Adesanya loses again, especially to a younger, powerful contender, it could mark the end of his legendary run. While some fans disagree, even Adesanya's biggest supporters admit the pressure is mounting. At bantamweight, Sean O'Malley is still chasing the dream of becoming the biggest star in the UFC. Despite recent setbacks, he insists the path is still there. He knows that beating Song Yadong is crucial if he wants to reclaim momentum and re-establish himself as a top draw. At just 31 years old, O'Malley still has time, but the competition is fierce. On a lighter note, Dana White went viral after tipping a valet driver 100,000, once again showcasing his generosity. While debates about fighter pay continue, moments like this remind people of Dana's habit of giving back in unexpected ways. Finally, Justin Gaethje revealed what he considers the biggest mistake of his career. Approaching his fight with Max Holloway with the wrong mindset, he admitted that he treated it as a fun fight rather than a dangerous one, and that lapse cost him dearly. Now, with his fight against Paddy Pimblett looming, Gaethje sounds more focused than ever. He's openly said he wants to drag Pimblett into the later rounds and test his durability, conditioning, and mental toughness. Despite Pimblett being the betting favorite, many, including Dustin Poirier, are backing Gaethje to win by knockout. Still, some fans are concerned after footage surfaced of Pimblett vaping during camp. While opinions are divided on whether it matters, the debate has added another layer of intrigue heading into UFC 324. At the end of the day, the stage is set for chaos, controversy, and unforgettable moments. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.